Disclaimer, this series revolves around criticizing things, and the fact that I'm doing that doesn't necessarily mean I dislike the thing. Thank you. Click below to watch the original Sins video, or to buy Avengers Infinity War. And yeah, it definitely feels good to finally be saying that. Okay, let's start with the obvious. It took you so long to do this film, and I understand why you waited until now to release this video. You wanted to wait for the Avengers 4 hype to start building up so that you could get more views on this. But come on man, your fans were begging you for it from day one. Waiting until now just kinda comes across as you saying, yeah, no, I care more about my views than my fans.
Thanos supposedly kills half of the people he encounters, so is this half of what was left of Asgard? Because it looks like a whole lot more.
I actually went ahead and watched the scene very thoroughly, trying to count how many bodies there were on the floor. And of course it's approximate, because I'm looking at little details in the background and stuff. But I counted about 16 bodies, which, you know, would be nowhere near half what's left of Asgard. So sure, this scene does look like it has a lot of bodies in the background, but if you put in the tiniest amount of effort and actually count them, you'll know that it's fine.
I'm also wondering, since Asgard lost so many at the hands of Kate Blanchett in Thor Part 3, does Thanos update what constitutes 50% population of a planet? Or should we give him a pass since he couldn't possibly know the devastation Asgard just went through?
While both answers to your question are plausible, I would raise you the idea that no one fucking gives a shit. The movie has better things to spend time on than Thanos' logistics. I guess what I'm trying to say is that this is not a sin. This is a question. Jeremy must learn the difference between questions and sins.
This 2-hour and 30-minute incomplete movie where Thanos locates all the Infinity Stones is only necessary so that Thanos can snap half the universe's population to death, just so he can be lazy. All this trouble he's going through to find Infinity Stones. He could have traveled planet to planet and did this job faster, like 6 years ago when we were introduced to him in the first Avengers.
Yeah, and you could have made this video half a year ago. I mean, hey, look how long it took me to do my video on everything wrong with Infinity War. It literally took me no time. How the fuck did I do that? I know, right? I think the only logical explanation is to assume that I have the Time Stone.
We don't have the Tesseract. It was destroyed on Asgard.
If Thor doesn't send Loki down into Odin's trophy room at the end of Thor the Third, does the Tesseract survive it and float around in space? And does Thanos' quest end when he realizes he can't possess the Space Stone? Does the snap only produce impotent sparks at that point? It's a hypothetical, I grant, but I'm sinning it anyway.
It's a hypothetical, but I'm sinning it anyway? It sounds like we found you a new tagline, my boy. This sin basically is just you going, hey, this thing didn't happen, but if it did happen, what would have happened? I don't give a shit. Hey, Loki was adopted by Odin, but if he wasn't, would he still be with the Frost Giants? Would he have died when all of those Frost Giants were killed? I don't know. And the fact that I don't know that, even though it's completely irrelevant, is a sin for this movie for some reason.
Thanos destroys Hulk with only one stone in his glove. Later, with many stones in the glove, his punch will be held by super angry Captain America.
It doesn't matter how many stones Thanos has in his glove at that point, because he's not using them when he takes on Cap. Cap blocks one strike from Thanos, and then Thanos immediately lays him out with another punch. At no point are the stones even involved in that. Hulk, on the other hand, doesn't even attempt to block any of Thanos' blows, but still takes a fair few of them like a champ.
Just who the f*** is this guy? We've sat through 18 goddamn films, and if I'm remembering correctly, 75% of the MCU has been Thanos bitching about traffic on the freeway, and we haven't once been introduced to these powerful f***s that follow him around or why he needs them.
Yes, this is the introduction. It's happening now. The longest scene we've previously got in the MCU of Thanos was 40 seconds long. He's been built up before now, but this is the first time we're actually learning anything really substantial about him, and that's okay.
Big bangs and 6 elemental crystals hurtling across the virgin universe.
If the universe is infinite, or at least close to it.
There's no such thing as close to infinite. That just conceptually doesn't work. Either you have infinity or you don't. Even the biggest conceivable object you could possibly imagine is still going to be infinitely smaller than something that's actually infinite.
Or at least close to it. Then these stones were sent in directions that should have guaranteed no one could ever combine them all. Just based on sheer math.
What?
Also, why 6?
Is the question that people asked you when you told them how many months it was going to take you to make this video. Also, this is not a sin. This is a question. Jeremy must learn the difference between questions and sins. Just like, why not 6, my man?
Maybe none of the classmates on the bus see Peter do this, but plenty of other drivers and passengers on this bridge do. And in the age of smartphones and dash cams and government surveillance, this transition was definitely seen and captured on film, and Peter's cover is blown forever.
Dude, there's literally a spaceship hanging over the city, and you think people are going to be taking the time out to film a guy hanging off the side of a bus? Okay.
I realize that nanobots are legit real-world science, to a degree, but Tony's suit is applying it in ways that make it utterly unbelievable.
Standing behind Tony is a guy who can grow to like 3 times his own size in a second, and 2 wizards, but somehow this is crossing the line.
Unlock 17A.
Thank f***ing God Stark had pre-designed and built and voice programmed for deployment a space-worthy Iron Spider-Man suit in the, I'm guessing, a few months since Spider-Man Homecoming?
This suit is in Homecoming? Have you not seen that film?
Well, this is 100% definitely not a reaction to CinemaSins complaining about text place names in movies being used when they're unnecessary. This is 100% definitely not a reaction to CinemaSins complaining about text place names in movies being used when they are unnecessary.
Well, first of all, what? But secondly, if you really don't like things being done when they're unnecessary, then why are half your sins like, this guy was on screen 3 seconds, but we never learnt his life story? Almost as if you want unnecessary things to be added to the film.
After that encounter with a sudden new alien being, Groot is still playing handheld video games. There comes a point when a parent's got a parent, and clearly no one aboard this ship ever did that. So Groot ends up like that affluenza kid in Texas, and everyone around him acts like, oh snap, he's such a bad seed, why didn't anyone do anything?
Jeremy, this is like a normal day for the Guardians. You call it an encounter with a new kind of alien being, but Groot probably just calls it Tuesday. Of course he's not looking up from his game.
Who the hell are you guys?
That's an awfully rude way to greet people you don't know. I once woke up in this room and this dude tried to do all this gnarly shit to me with these strange tools, and I was like, who the hell are you? And he said, I'm your fucking dentist, asshole.
See, I understand that this was a joke, but it still made me unhappy.
Look, this is the fucking MCU. I refuse to believe anything is an accident, and I'm losing sleep trying to unravel the meaning of we will deep fry your kebab.
It means that they'll deep fry your kebab. It's, not that complicated. You've never been to Scotland, have you? I live here. It's amazing. You can get fucking anything you want deep fried.
I hope Thanos is keeping count during all this disorder and chaos, because I can't figure out how many are dying at first glance. But I'm sure he knows how to keep the death at halfsies.
This sin really only makes sense if for some strange reason you decide to assume that when Thanos says he's gonna wipe out half the population, he means exactly fucking half on the dot. Because if it's not exactly half, this genocide will somehow stop working.
What's wrong, little one?
The fact that Thanos would ever have stopped on his kill quest for even a moment because of a cute kid is a big pill to swallow.
That would be a really big pill to swallow if it was fucking true, but unfortunately it isn't. Thanos doesn't need to be doing anything for this campaign right now. He's already won and his men are arranging the executions of half the population. He doesn't drop anything for this.
Swear to me on your mother.
Movie characters think that a promise will be a bond if they swear on a loved one, but of course it doesn't work that way, cliché.
Except Peter does go through with this, so it does work that way? You remember the significance of Peter's mother, right? This is simply a way for Gamora to communicate just how important this is to her.
The only reason he pulls the trigger here is because the movie knows it's going to undo the act and keep Gamora alive for now.
The only reason he's even allowed to pull the trigger in the first place is that Thanos has a way to undo it. If he didn't, he wouldn't have allowed this situation to happen.
His love for her and dopey puppy dog nature 100% does not jive with his willfully pulling the trigger here.
You see how hard it is for him, right? He spends ages over it. He has time to think about this, and he understands the situation. He also understands that she's the one he's letting down if he doesn't do it.
Why do Drax and Mantis go back to normal when Thanos leaves? The stone powers aren't proximity-based, but somehow the damage he did was only temporary.
If you're gonna say why doesn't he just kill them, then sure, fine. I can see arguments either way on that one. But clearly he decided not to kill them, and what? You think the most powerful objects in the universe don't have a temporary setting? Or an undo button?
Where's the fight?
F***ing Bucky.
That's not a sin. That's what Cap spends his spare time doing. Jeremy must learn the difference between what Cap spends his spare time doing and sins.
Way to introduce a new character in the movie in the 19th film of a franchise and completely kill him off in an hour.
Well, you know, that's allowed. Especially considering the Maw was more of a plot device than an actual character.
I say we take the fight to him.
Granted, the ship you're on is going to him, and you haven't stated declaratively that you can turn the ship around, despite being asked twice by Strange. Maybe this is less of a choice than the movie or Tony wants to make it seem.
Yeah, we see them control the ship in this movie.
I'm getting a new hammer.
In Thor 33 1/3, Odin told him his hammer was just something that focused his power. Now that's been forgotten, and a hammer is important again.
Since when is focusing your power completely unimportant? Sure, he can use his power without a hammer. Doesn't mean a hammer doesn't help.
And he killed everyone anyway, all except me.
Let me do some math here. 300 dwarves were here, 1 is left, carry the 9.
Oh god, I already know where he's going with this. He's gonna say it's more than half. It's ridiculously condescending, man. And also, not right. Well, no, you are right. It is more than half. But if you're gonna be condescending, you should probably get Thanos' motivations right. He doesn't kill them to try and balance their population. Obviously. He kills them to prevent them from making more weapons for anyone else. Like, what do you think the movie is suggesting happened here? That Thanos killed all of them and was like, oh fuck, right, yeah. I'm only supposed to be killing half. Shit. Oh no. Or maybe you think he went, guys, what's 300 divided by 2? It's 299, right? Or maybe you think he went, hang on, how many people am I supposed to be killing again? Fuck it, I'll just kill them all.
What are the odds a far-flung planet moon like Titan would have air breathable by humans?
What? I mean, that's a fighting question and all. Sure, that is very unlikely. I will not deny you that. But this is the 19th movie in a franchise where we've seen all the aliens just speak English, and all of the alien planets just have breathable atmospheres. Has it actually taken you this long to notice? Because that is hilarious.
Guiding others to a treasure I cannot possess.
Are you saying you've had a lot of people looking for the Soul Stone since you got sent here in 1945? What happened before you were here? Was Warren G. Harding guiding people back then?
This is a thing that the movie should not be taking time out to explain, because taking time out to explain this would detract from the pacing and add nothing to the plot.
This death is sad until you realize that A, the Time Stone will end up figuring into her coming back to life anyway.
You don't know that!
And B, that despite all the problems since the firing of James Gunn, Guardians of the Galaxy 3 was ready to go into production after this movie.
Do we know that Guardians of the Galaxy 3 was going to have Gamora in it? Because I don't think we do. It's my understanding that after Gamora dies in the comics, Nebula takes her place with the Guardians. No, I'm not saying that's what's going to happen. I'm just saying there are more possibilities here than you seem to be making out. I'm not much of a comic reader, so don't quote me on comic information. If I got that wrong, it's not my fault. Well, no, it is. I just don't want to take responsibility for it. Shut up.
This battle at Wakanda doesn't make a whole lot of strategical sense. Thanos already has enough stones to wreck these Earthlings on his own. He needs Vision's stone. That's basically the only reason he sends this army. Feels like we needed something actiony to do with a bunch of our characters that didn't make the trip to Titan, and we came up with this.
Thanos can't be in two places at once. He needs Vision's stone, hence you get this scene. He comes here when he's done, but he needs the Time Stone as well, and there's nothing wrong with him getting that one first.
Look at that distance between the shield and the Wakandan troops that everybody, including Natasha, just traversed in 3 seconds.
Yeah, you make scenes like this one a lot, and every time you do, I just want to bring up this clip.
Hey Bill, I got an idea. We can fill a lot of time just by having people walk from one side to the other, and we can film each one walking in real time, and none of that editing bullshit. It's genius, I tell you.
So, apparently it's a sin if they show the whole thing, but it's also a sin if they cut it out, because fuck you. Oh, also, quick side note, when I was watching that video to find that clip, I also found this clip.
Half mortal, half immortal.
This is a contradiction in terms. It's like saying half pregnant, half not pregnant.
Yeah, or like saying almost infinite.
Oh good! Just what I wanted to see in this giant Marvel movie. Swarms of easily killable CGI monster clones. Thanos could easily just do the job right now, but why do that when you can reenact Braveheart?
May I remind you that Thanos is currently going to get the Time Stone. I mean, sure, he could just drop that to come and do this, but then wouldn't you have the same complaint just the other way around?
We open the barrier.
In order to keep the aliens from going around and flanking them, they open the f***ing shield barrier directly in front of them. And honestly, it's one of the most baffling military decisions on film since Denzel started firing on friendly tanks and Courage Under Fire. Why not leave Cap and you and Falcon and War Machine here to get the stragglers getting through one at a time and send the entire rest of the army to the back to fight the alien foot soldiers?
It is a very bad thing to be completely surrounded by hostiles. That's what they're trying to avoid here, because if they don't open the barrier, they will be surrounded on all sides. Especially considering the fact that what they're trying to do here is defend something. They do not want to be surrounded. They want to keep track of all their hostiles, and they do not want to be outflanked.
A bunch of whatever.
A sin that can be better applied to any portion of this video than it can to a single portion of this film.
You know what would be awesome, since the Death Snap doesn't discriminate? If it killed Thanos too. Imagine Thanos actually deciding for the greater good that he could even die with such a snap. But guess what? You don't have the balls for that.
Yeah, wouldn't it be great if the sequel's plot was just kind of ruined by the events of this film? Marvelous! Also, Thanos could have killed himself at any point leading up to now. He's been wiping out half of populations for a very long time. It seems like he considers himself necessary to continue moderating life in the universe. That's why he hasn't killed himself before, and that's why he doesn't kill himself now.
I know we like him, and she loves him, but honestly, kill his ass and destroy the stone, you idiots. The universe is at stake.
Yeah, they really should be doing that thing that they do. Hang on.
Why was she up there all this time?
Because Scarlet Witch was there to destroy the Mind Stone as Shuri got it out of Vision. Jeez, lady, who do you think you are? You're worse than CinemaSins.
On the one hand, I'm glad you didn't just say, Okoye would be excellent at CinemaSins, because I really did think that's what you were going to say. But on the other hand, I'd also like to bring up that now, not only is it a sin when a character is excellent at CinemaSins, it's also a sin when they're not. You know what though? I'm just glad that wasn't an excellent at CinemaSins joke, so I'm not even going to send this.
Vision Ex Machina!
Not Nex Machina, he was there the whole time.
He should be vomiting magenta computer code at this point, but somehow he has the strength to stand, grab a weapon, and kill a fool? Come on, movie. Have just 25% more consistency, damn it.
Yeah, no, he doesn't have the strength to do much, but one thing he does have the strength to do is save the woman he loves. This isn't the movie being inconsistent, this is Vision having character motivations.
We now interrupt this Avengers movie to bring you a special presentation of Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows.
And a Sins video wouldn't be complete without a This Movie, That Movie, would it? Hey, this scene is vaguely similar to something else. Had you noticed that? That's interesting. This is good content. Haha.
Here comes the part of the movie where the snap of death plays a game. Who's gonna live and who's gonna die? And apparently, it takes its time picking and choosing, because all the dramatically relevant deaths wait for each other so we can see them all, rather than happening at the same time.
Nobody says that these aren't happening at the same time. We just get shown them separately, like it would make sense for a film to do, because if it showed them all at the same time, we'd have no idea what the fuck was going on.
While it's distressing to see your favorite characters wasting away, don't you just know they're all going to be back? This kind of death scene is reminiscent of Twilight Breaking Dawn Part 2.
Speaking of, you should probably go and watch back your Sins video on that, because in that video you contradict a couple of the points you make in this one.
Geez, did Thanos move out into Camazotz or whatever the fuck that was in A Wrinkle in Time? You know what that means? Chris Pine is going to complete the Chris Quadfecta in Avengers 4. Woohoo!
Honestly, I'll be real, I'm impressed that this Sins video only had 2 This Movie That Movies in it, but any number of This Movie That Movies is still a sin, unless something genuinely is a rip-off. So, the sin total was 45, and can you tell that I'm still a little bit ill? Because I sure as fucking hell can. Hopefully I'll have a video for you on Sunday, but I can't make any promises, unfortunately. Also, hopefully I'll be back on EFAP soon, so if you're an EFAP fan, soon I will be back. I didn't really have anywhere to go with that sentence, but there you go, I guess. In fact, the plan was that I was going to go on last night, and the only possible reasons that I wouldn't would be if CinemaSins released everything wrong with Infinity War, or I was sick, and both of those things turned out to be true. Yay! Anyway, I hope you have enjoyed this. I'll hopefully see you on Sunday. If not, I'll see you next Wednesday. Goodbye.